Strength today is misunderstood. It is confused with noise, confidence with display, power with attention. The loudest man in the room is assumed to be the strongest, while the quiet one is ignored or underestimated. Society rewards expression, not control. It praises reaction, not restraint. And slowly, men are trained to reveal everything, explain everything, feel everything, and collapse under the weight of their own exposure. But real strength has never worked that way. The most dangerous minds in history were not loud. They did not rush to speak. They did not seek approval. They watched, they waited, they measured. While others performed, they refined themselves in silence. The crowd fears silence because silence removes distraction. In silence, there is nowhere to hide. No applause to lean on, no validation to borrow, only your thoughts, your discipline, and your ability to remain steady without reassurance. This is where most men fail. They mistake constant expression for authenticity. They mistake emotional release for honesty. They mistake visibility for value. You are not here to join the crowd. You are here to separate from it. This separation is not loneliness. It is selection. It is the decision to build internal authority instead of chasing external permission. While others react to life, you learn to command yourself. While others seek to be understood, you seek to be unshakable. This path is quieter, it is slower, but it leads to a level of control the crowd will never reach because it requires something rare: the ability to stand alone without weakening. Long before modern chaos, there were men who studied the mind as a weapon and discipline as a form of freedom. They lived in violent times, uncertain times, times where comfort was not guaranteed, yet they remained composed while others panicked. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while reminding himself that external events were not the source of disturbance, but internal judgment was. Seneca observed how crowds weaken character and warned that constant exposure to others' opinions diluted self-command. Epictetus taught that mastery begins the moment a man stops demanding control over the uncontrollable and takes full responsibility for himself. Their message was simple but unforgiving. Strength is internal, power is quiet. Control begins where excuses end. They did not teach withdrawal from the world. They taught independence within it. A man could engage fully without being owned emotionally. He could lead without becoming reactive. He could endure without becoming bitter. This worldview rejects fragility. It rejects emotional chaos disguised as honesty. It values restraint, clarity, and deliberate action over impulsive expression. From this foundation come principles that separate disciplined men from reactive ones. Not tricks, not motivation. Behaviors. Live daily, silently, and consistently. Principle 1. Mentally strong people control their reactions before attempting to control outcomes. Weak men react immediately because emotion leads them. Strong men pause because reason leads them. The pause creates space between stimulus and response, and in that space, power is born. Most damage in life does not come from events themselves, but from uncontrolled reactions to them. Anger spoken too quickly, fear acted on too early, pride defending what should be corrected. The disciplined man trains himself to delay response. He observes his internal surge without obeying it. This restraint is not suppression, it is command. He understands that once a reaction escapes him, leverage is lost. Calm men dominate situations not through force, but through composure. When others rush, he slows. When others escalate, he stabilizes. Over time, this behavior builds trust, authority, and psychological gravity. Sense it without explanation. They feel that he is not governed by impulse. He governs himself. And self-governance is the foundation of all real strength in any environment, because a man who controls his reactions cannot be controlled by others. Principle 2. Mentally strong people do not seek validation for their discipline. Weak men announce effort to be seen enduring it. Strong men endure privately. They understand that applause weakens focus and external recognition creates dependency. When progress is tied to praise, motivation collapses the moment attention disappears. The disciplined man removes witnesses from his self-improvement. He trains without posting, improves without explaining, and grows without seeking acknowledgement. This builds internal standards instead of external reliance. Psychology follows structure. When approval is removed, intention becomes pure. Effort becomes consistent. There is no emotional negotiation with the self, only execution. This behavior creates quiet confidence, not the confidence of performance, but the confidence of preparation. Over time, this man does not need to prove anything. His presence carries weight because it is not asking to be validated. Others sense that his worth is settled internally. This makes him difficult to manipulate and impossible to shame. He does not rise or fall with opinion because his discipline answers only to his own standards. Principle: 3 mentally strong people choose silence when others choose exposure. Weak men believe being heard equals being powerful. Strong men understand that being reserved equals being respected. Silence is not absence, it is containment. It signals that a man is selective with his energy and intentional with his words. Psychologically, silence creates tension and curiosity. It forces others to project instead of extract. The man who speaks less listens more, and the man who listens more sees patterns others miss. He learns who speaks from insecurity and who speaks from clarity. He learns where weakness hides behind noise. Silence also prevents regret. Words cannot be taken back once released. The disciplined man understands this cost. He speaks when there is value, not when there is emotion. Over time, this trains his nervous system to remain steady under pressure. Others begin to speak around him, revealing more than intended. He remains composed, gathering information without advertising intention. This is not manipulation, it is restraint. And restraint, when mastered, becomes quiet authority. Principle: 4 mentally strong people accept discomfort without dramatizing it. Weak men seek constant relief. Strong men accept pressure as a condition of growth. They do not complain about difficulty or seek sympathy for struggle. They understand that comfort weakens tolerance and tolerance determines resilience. Psychology adapts to exposure. When discomfort is avoided, sensitivity increases. When discomfort is endured, capacity expands. The disciplined man trains himself to stay present during discomfort without turning it into identity. Pain is not a story, it is a signal. He listens, adjusts if necessary, and continues. This creates emotional armor without emotional numbness. He can feel without collapsing. He can endure without bitterness. Over time, this behavior rewires his self-image. He no longer sees himself as fragile, he sees himself as capable. This belief compounds. Challenges stop feeling personal and start feeling procedural. They are handled, not internalized. Others sense this steadiness and rely on it. He becomes the calm presence in unstable environments, not because he lacks feeling, but because he has mastered response. Principle-strong people detach their identity from outcomes. Weak men tie self-worth to results. Strong men tie self-respect to effort and alignment. When identity depends on winning, loss becomes devastating. When identity depends on discipline, loss becomes information. The disciplined man understands that outcomes are influenced by variables beyond control. He focuses instead on preparation, intention, and execution. This removes emotional volatility. Success does not inflate him. Failure does not destroy him. Both are processed rationally. This psychological stability allows consistency over time. He does not quit when results delay gratification. He adjusts without self-punishment. This behavior builds longevity. Others burn out chasing validation through achievement. He remains steady because his identity is anchored internally. Over time, this detachment paradoxically improves results. Clear thinking replaces desperation. Strategy replaces emotion. Effort becomes sustainable. The man who does not need outcomes to feel worthy becomes free to pursue them with clarity and precision, unaffected by temporary setbacks. Principle 6. Mentally strong people choose responsibility over blame. Weak men protect ego by externalizing failure. Strong men protect progress by owning it. Responsibility is not guilt, it is leverage. The moment a man accepts that his life reflects his decisions, power returns to his hands. Blame feels relieving but leaves him passive. Responsibility feels heavy but makes him effective. The disciplined man examines his role in every outcome without self-hatred. He asks what can be corrected, not who can be accused. This mindset accelerates growth because it eliminates delay. There is no waiting for conditions to change. Change begins internally. Psychologically, this builds self-trust. He knows that if something breaks, he will fix it. If something fails, he will adapt. This certainty reduces anxiety. Life becomes navigable instead of threatening. Others sense this reliability. He becomes someone whose word holds weight because he does not escape accountability. Over time, responsibility becomes identity. An identity shapes destiny more than circumstance ever could. Principle 7. Mentally strong people live by internal principles, not shifting emotions. Weak men let mood dictate behavior. Strong men let values dictate action. Emotions change daily. Principles remain stable. The disciplined man establishes rules for himself and follows them regardless of feeling. He does not wait to feel motivated. He acts because it is correct. This consistency trains self-trust. Each kept promise strengthens internal authority. Each broken one weakens it. Over time, discipline becomes automatic. The mind stops negotiating. Action becomes default. This creates calm dominance. There is no internal chaos, no debate, no fragmentation. He knows who he is because his behavior proves it daily. Others feel this coherence. They sense alignment. This is the foundation of leadership, attraction, and respect. Not charisma, but reliability. Not intensity, but steadiness. A man governed by principle is not easily shaken because his center is not emotional, it is structural. These behaviors are not isolated techniques. Together, they form a single identity. A man who controls his reactions, seeks no validation, values silence, endures discomfort, detaches from outcomes, accepts responsibility, and lives by principle becomes internally governed. This internal governance changes everything. Decisions become cleaner. Emotions become signals instead of commands. Relationships become choices instead of dependencies. Life stops feeling chaotic and starts feeling navigable. There is no rush in this identity. No need to prove. No need to announce. Progress becomes quiet and consistent. Strength becomes visible without effort. This transformation is long-term. It compounds slowly and reveals itself gradually. But once established, it cannot be taken. External chaos loses influence. Internal order remains. This is not withdrawal from the world. It is engagement without surrender. You are present, but not reactive. Involved, but not owned. Calm, but not passive. This identity does not chase attention. It attracts respect. It does not demand control. It embodies it. If this way of thinking aligns with you, remain here. Continue refining yourself quietly. Share this with those who value discipline over display. This path is not for everyone. It does not promise comfort. It promises strength. Build yourself until silence becomes your advantage and discipline becomes your signature. A man who governs himself needs no permission to stand firm.